Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to talk about today is the different types of lies that you'd come across on the golf course. But more importantly, I've taught golf now for well over 30 years, and the last 15 years I've been spending more time on the golf course with my golfers. And I just don't see how people walk up to their ball and start to look at it and understand how the lie is going to affect the shot. So we're going to look at least half a dozen different lies today that I see golfers get dramatically wrong on the golf course that I want to help you to make sure you're not making this mistake. And it's really important. So it's a little bit how a professional would look at a lie and how that would change the shot, and how I don't see the amateur doing this. And I would say on average it would probably save even a single figure golfer 1 or 2 shots around, definitely higher handicap golfers, it may save you 5 or 6 shots around. So we're going to, as I said, play at least half a dozen different shots. We're going to start on the tee box. And I think the first thing to understand is your game develops, the likelihood is you're starting to create your own shape of shot. Okay, now that may be, as a right-handed golfer, you're somebody who fades the ball. That means it starts a bit more to the left and curves to the right. You might be a drawer of the ball, like myself. It might start to the right and curve to the left. And that's absolutely fine. If that's the swing you're developing and it's controllable, then that's brilliant. But here's the first thing we need to do, is when you stand on that tee box, is make sure that you're teeing up in the right place to take full advantage of your shape. Now, if you've got very little shape, you can play pretty much anywhere on the tee, but I would encourage you to play pretty much centre. But if you are somebody who hits a little bit of a fade, or you might say it's turning into a little bit of a slice, play from the middle of the tee or slightly to the right, to the right side. Now the reason why you come out here and go to the right side of the tee is that physically now, if I look at that shot, I can aim out towards the left side of the fairway, and the angle that I'm hitting it at, it allows me then when it curves back, it's going to come back more to the centre of the fairway. And if I'm a drawer of the ball like me, I would tee up middle to left side. I now feel I can aim a little bit more from this side. It feels like I can aim out to the right and bring it back. It makes the fairway a lot bigger. I think that's the key thing. So let's hit those 2 shots. So if I'm a fader of the ball, somebody who comes out here, if I tee up more on this side as a fader, okay, I'm now aiming, I'm much closer to the out of bounds, I'm much closer to the trouble. So it feels like I'm probably going to want to push it a bit further right, and then my fade, I'm going to be in the trees on the right. Now from here, I can aim down the left side of the fairway, I'm hitting up that slope, that's going to work out perfectly for me. I can play there. So I'm a fader of the ball, this one I'm going to fade, play it out to the left, you can see I'm aiming that way, hit my shape, and now that ball's going to curve nicely from the left rough back into the middle of the fairway, gives me a great chance. So that's what we're looking for there. As I said, if I'm a drawer of the ball, I just move to the other side of the tee box. I'm just using the tee box to help me. And there'll be certain holes that you've got on your golf course, it may be an even bigger factor to do this. This is really important. So again, now from here, because there is a bit of a left to right slope, I can aim a little bit more middle to right, hit my little bit of draw, and physically from there, if it goes up the left side now, the ground will kick me back into the middle. So that's nice. Middle to slightly down the left now with that little bit of draw, and that's going to bring me back. So our first lie, it's not an awkward lie, okay? It's more about you using your shape to understand the lie. Now, we're just going to go through a rule of golf on the tee box. You've got 2 club lengths that you can come back from that marker. You might walk onto tee box, especially par 3s, where the tee box might be a little bit uneven. Why is it uneven? Divots are taken regularly, so it can end up that way. If that is the case, use the 2 club length rule, i.e. you can come back 2 club lengths back here, much more towards the camera, and now it may be flat there, and straight away you're giving yourself a flat lie. So don't walk up and put it bang in line with the markers every time. The rules of golf say you've got 2 club lengths, you can come back, it's like an imaginary box you can think about, use that. So that's again 2 things we're helping you with, 2 different lies on that tee box. Number 1, use the tee box for your shape. Number 2, get as flat a lie as you can by using the 2 club rule. And if you do that, straight away you're making that first shot on the hole a greater chance that you're going to get the results you want. Okay, but let's go and look at some shots now you may come across on the golf course that are causing a little bit of an issue, and why you're not getting the contact that we want you to get, and getting the consistency of result that you'd like. So here's our second shot, and we're now down the fairway where we've hit our tee shot to, and the ball is severely below my feet. And I see two big problems with this, okay? The first problem is everybody expects the ball to do a certain shape, so they set up for that shape. And number two, they set up poorly, so it creates an inconsistency in how they play the shot. So ball below your feet, the first thing, let's talk about the setup. Let's talk about that first. What I see a lot of people do is they think, well, I've got to get lower to the ball. Ball is lower than my stance, so I need to get down lower. And what happens is people will set up and they'll bend their legs more. And what happens is now you're like a spring. It's like you're bouncing up and down. The chances are now you bounce down, you're going to hit the ground, you lift up, you're going to hit the top of it. If you do happen to come back exactly to the right spot, bang, you hit a great shot. So here's the thing I need you to do, how you cure that fault. Don't bend your legs. You hear that a lot. People go, bend the knees. Rubbish. You don't want to bend the knees. What you want to do is bend over through your hip joint. Get much more of a feeling there through your hip joint. Unlock the knees and then maintain that balance through the swing. But what's really important is finish the swing. Make sure you finish nice and balanced through the shot. Again, I see a lot of people get here, and we'll talk about this on the second bit because of the slope, and they become very armsy. It becomes a bit of a chop. And now they get inconsistency both on the contact on the ball, but also the power that they're going to get off the shot. They get frustrated they're only hitting it maybe 2/3 the distance they would expect to. So number one thing, setup wise, when you play this shot, bend from your hip joint until you feel that club rests on the ground. Unlock the knee, so gentle flex, and then from there make your swing. Get the feeling as you do it. Do a couple of practice swings to feel the shot. And that's the thing I would say. I'm not a big fan of people taking lots of practice swings, but when you get an awkward lie like this, have 2 or 3 practice swings to get the feel, because that's not what you practice. That's really important. So hip bend, gentle knee flex, couple of practice swings to get the feel of what you're doing with the shot. Now, here's the important thing. What happens to your swing when you've now got the ball below your feet? Well, what happens now is your swing naturally becomes steeper. Okay, so what do we expect the ball to do? Well, let's use another ball to understand that. If I throw this ball onto the slope, you can see the ball starting to curve that way on the slope. So that's a good indication of what the ball might do. If it's going to naturally do anything, the swing is going to get steeper. You are going to probably open the club face a little bit, and the end result is you might get a bit of a fade off this slope. So if you forget what that shape could be, we're going to show you in a minute, it doesn't have to be. Throw a ball, imagine throwing a ball and say, where is it going to go? It's going to go to the low point. That's now the shape we could get, because the swing will get steeper. Naturally, your instinct is to open the club face up. That causes a swing going left. Club face slightly opened, that will cause that left to right shape. But here's the key thing. Now, we've got one particular member. It's actually the captain of our particular club here. Doesn't like this second shot, because the tendency is, because the swing gets a little bit steeper, he pulls it straight out of bounds. And that's actually the shot you should be hitting. If your swing is in balance to the way the swing is going, you should actually hit more of a pull shot. A steep swing, a swing going up this way, if you now square the club up, is going left of target, it's going to pull it to the left. But as I said, we're taught that you must fade the ball off this slope. Well, you're probably going to get one of two results. The pull, which the captain doesn't like. Amazingly, what he does, if he's got a good lie on the fairway, or this time of year where we've got preferred lies, he'll actually look at it and take his driver because he doesn't feel he can close the face. And it's amazing how often he hits a really good shot off this lie. I mean, he's an 7-8 handicap golfer. He's a good golfer, but to hit the driver off the deck is an amazing shot. But straight away, mentally to him, this is the belief, this is the key thing. He never feels like he's going to go out of bounds with that club, and doesn't. Pulls out his 5-wood, he's scared he's going to go out of bounds. So straight away, there's that uncertainty in your mind, it's not going to work as well. So again, every individual's different. I think that's really important. But that steep swing, in theory, will make the swing go left. If you square the club up, you pull it left. If you now open the face, it's going to move in some way left to right. Use that idea of the ball. But let's play a shot. So, bend from the hip joint. Unlock the knees. I'm aiming, I mean, I hit a natural draw, so I actually aim quite straight here. So middle left of the fairway, because I know the fairway is going to kick me that way. Just make the swing. That's gone up my side of the fairway. Absolutely happy with that. Got the result. So again, a little bit like we said on the tee box. If you've got a certain swing, play to it, use it, be clever. That's the key thing. Ball below your feet makes the swing steeper. Doesn't mean you're going to fade or slice it. In theory, you should pull it, but they're the two shots you're going to get. Probably a pull left as a right-handed golfer, or a tendency to have a little bit of a left to right shape on it from there. All right, let's go and find some more different lies for you to have a look at. So here's our next shot, and I call it the double slope shot. And it's a situation where I see people, they'll see one slope, but in this case, there are actually two slopes going to affect my stance and how I play this shot. And we're here on the third hole at Corinthians, and we've got a pond in front of the green. And it's the most common shot I see is people put this ball in the pond. Okay, so let's explain those two slopes. And hopefully on the camera you can see, ball is a little bit above my feet, but hopefully also on the camera, the green is lower than us. So we're going downhill to get to the green. So we've got two slopes here that are going to affect the shot. And all I see people do is relate to the ball above the feet. And what they end up doing then, if anything, because they want to get over the water, they lean back, and now what happens is they either hit the ground way behind the ball, or they top it, thin it, and invariably what happens is they either fluff it short of the water, or they go straight in the water. So amazingly here, whenever there's a downhill lie, I always say to golfers, that's your most important lie. That's the one you've got to make sure you're working towards, okay? Because if you can get your body angles going with the downhill lie, you will get a much better strike on the ball. So this particular slope is leaning me this way, okay? Downhill lie, okay? So I need to get my body going that way. The second thing, we've got that second lie we're talking about, ball above my feet. But actually what happens a little bit here is they slightly counteract each other. When the ball is above your feet, it will naturally make the swing shallower, means you're going to come more from the inside line. The two shots you could get, a little bit of push to the right, or generally what we think we're going to get is a draw. But when I hit down more on the ball, what that's going to encourage the golf ball to do, if anything, is go right. The more you hit down on it, the more likely the club face will be pushed ahead and open, and it causes it to go out to the right. So when I've got this lie, I naturally draw the ball. I just set up with my natural shape. So I'll favour the middle right side of the green. But as I said, the most important thing on this lie, see that lie, it's leaning this way. Because the most important thing to me, I want to get contact on the ball. So here's your number one most important thing. Whenever you see any element of downhill lie, that is the number one thing you take priority to. Okay, that's really important. Secondly, we've got the ball above the feet. So what I would do here is to get my angles correct. I'd feel that weight go on my left side. The ball now is positioned middle to slightly nearer my higher foot. That gives me a greater contact to strike the ball first. And then I just find my posture, and then I grip the club where I feel comfortable. On this occasion, only about 1/4 of an inch further down the club than normal. That counteracts the ball above my feet. So that doesn't feel like I'm going to bury the club into the ground. So from there now, if I trust that idea, ball middle to back stance, gripping a little bit down to fit the lie, weight on my left side, swing down that line. First thing I get is solid contact on the ball. And as I've seen there, I've just got my natural little bit of draw. I haven't seen the ball move dramatically from right to left, which is what I see people think. Because it's ball above the feet, that's the angle they see. Remember our golden rule. Any element of a downhill lie, that's the priority. Work on that. Let's go and look at something a little bit different. So here's our next lie, and it's a little bit what I call the ego lie. And you can see from the picture, we're sitting down in thick grass. I've hit a terrible tee shot, I'm in the rough. What do we do? We're still around about, looking at it from here, we're about 170 to the green. So the brain straight away says, oh, what can I get in there to get into that lie and get it out? Well, here's the most important thing. When you go in the rough, as long as you've got clean entry into the back of the ball, then you can probably take whatever club you want. But this lie doesn't have that. This is very easy to think, oh, I need to be hitting a 6 or a 5 iron out of this lie. I want to play that. And the trouble is, because the grass is so thick around the ball, one, I'm going to get a lot of grass between club face and ball. There's a twig there we can get rid of. but two, the trajectory it's going to come out with something like a 5-iron, it's going to come out very low and probably get caught up in this grass. So that's going to take a load of the sting out of it. But let's have a go. Let's see what happens. So there, take a 5-iron, there, oh, and look what happened. I mean, I've tried to hit it too hard. I've moved the ball forward 3 paces. So that's where the ego comes in. Now, this is really important. When you get that lie, let's find a similar lie. Let's stick it in some thick grass. Stick it right down there. Yeah, lovely. And I was taught this very early on. I always remember this. It sticks in my mind. I was playing one day on my own. It was school holidays. I was probably 10 years old. That just shows you how different things are nowadays. 10 years old, out on the golf course on my own. And the group in front of me was the pro, and he was playing a game with a couple of the members. And I'd hit my ball into the rough. And I went in there with something like a 6-iron. I advanced it probably 30 yards. He said, oh no, don't run off. Drop another ball. And he said, get your pitching wedge. And the reason why we're going to get the pitching wedge is 2 things. One, I'm going to come in a little bit steeper. That means I'm going to miss a lot of this grass behind the ball. And 2, because of the loft, I'm going to get it up and out of the grass quicker. So this is a really important thing, and it's stuck with me all the time. Now here's the other good thing. Even though I've got 170, 180 yards to go, I'm not going to get any backspin on the ball. So if anything, if I connect reasonably well with it, it'll hit the fairway and it'll just run on and on and on. It won't get to the green, but I'll end up probably around about that 100, 120 yards down the hole, and I'll have a 60-yard pitch in, whereas I've only advanced it 6 feet in front. So taking a wedge, loads aloft, as long as I reach the bottom of the ball, that ball will come out of that lie, will come out of the grass quickly, we get a result. There we go, that's nicely come out, it's going down the hole. Really happy with that. So when you get in that thick grass, and you can see, look how much I've gone through that, I'll put that, take a picture of that and show you the divot. But I've kept the club going through. Again, with the 5-iron, I was trying to hit it hard. It's not going to come out of that lie. It's going to be very, very difficult to do. So thick grass, rein the ego in, get the pitching wedge, sand wedge, any of those clubs, get it up and out of the grass quickly. I've moved it from 3 paces in front of me to comfortably over 100 yards down the hole. So much better. Okay, let's go and look at a shot a little bit more around the greens, where I see golfers get this so wrong. So here's our next shot, and it's the bald lie. We've gone from really sort of heavy grass to the bald lie, and I see golfers more scared of this shot than anything else. When the ball's sitting down, it's like your brain says, well, I've got to get down there. When it's sitting on a bald lie, it's as if the brain thinks, well, I've got to get up, I've got to get out of it. So the most common shot I see when I see people play this is they lift up and they try to pick it up off the surface, and they end up thinning or topping the ball. Now here's the most important thing I would say to you. When you've got a clean entry into the back of the ball, just enjoy playing the shot. It's the best situation you can be in. I know a lot of you like to see it sitting on a nice bit of tufty grass. That will give you confidence. That might feel a little bit easier to play. But when you've got nothing between you and the ball, okay, i.e. your club can strike that ball cleanly, just trust your technique, make your swing, make sure you get the contact on the ball first. And the biggest thing I would say to golfers here is make sure your weight transfers through nice and balanced onto your left side, onto your front foot. So as a right-handed golfer, left side, left-handed golfer on your right side. Make sure that momentum is going through. That's really important to understand. So clean entry into the back of the ball, you should be rubbing your hands. Doesn't matter if it's a wind to fairway like this. If I play the shot correctly, it will come off that lie absolutely fine. I've just got to trust it. I've just got to get the weight going through. There's the strike. And the thing to look at is when I've played that shot, I've taken the ball because I've just gone straight through it. Any divot I've taken is after the ball. But as I said, don't pick it off the surface. Make sure you're moving through the ball. Nothing between you and the back of the ball, so the club can hit it cleanly. Rub your hands, enjoy that shot. Okay, we're going to look at 2 more shots now. Okay, one around the green, another one I see, and that's just, again, as I said, the professional picks up the lie, the amateur doesn't. But let's go down to a green and let's do a little chipping shot. So here's our next shot, and it's that downhill lie around the greens. And it's one of those things, remember what we said earlier on in the videos, as soon as you get a downhill lie, that takes most importance. That takes preference for what you're going to do with your swing. And the reason for that, as I said, if you lean back, you're going to hit the ground back here, or you're going to top it. That's going to be your bad shot. The biggest thing we're after all the time is to get a consistent contact on the ball. If you can get a consistent contact on the ball, you'll start to work out very, very quickly how much effort you need to put into the shot, so what length of swing will hit it. But if your strike is inconsistent, you really don't know how hard to hit it. So we need that consistency of strike. That's the real priority here as we're going through this. So downhill lie, chipping. First priority, get your angles with the slope. Start to feel that slope. And that's the biggest difference I see the tour player do on this shot. He'll get the sense of his angles, feeling that. And one of the greatest short game players for me was Seve. Seve was an amazing short game player, and he related always to the slope. So we've got a slope here of around about 15 degrees. We're playing to a green that's slightly raised ahead of us. I want to get a little bit of elevation on this shot. But the downhill lie, this is the key thing. Remember the lies. If it's a downhill lie and you get your angles correctly going with the slope, it's going to make the ball go lower. It's going to make it go down a little bit lower than you would expect it to go. So that's the key thing. It's not going to go as high as you'd expect. And here becomes the problem, because golfers now think, well, I've got to help it up. And they lean back, they come back here and they top it, and they don't get the result they want. So that's why it's so important that you get confident around the greens with different lofted clubs. If I'm losing 15 degrees and I'd like to play this maybe even with just a standard pitching wedge, okay, which would have, let's say, 44, 45 degrees of loft, from a flat lie, I lose 15 degrees, that pitching wedge is going to become a 30-degree golf club. We're now talking really, I'm hitting much closer to something, let's say, like a 6-iron. That's what I'm hitting now from that particular lie. So that ball isn't going to get the elevation. And this is why it's so important that you get confident with all your clubs, because if I'm losing 15 degrees, I still want it to come out like a pitching wedge shot. I now need to go to something like a sand iron or even a lob wedge. I've got my 60 degree here. But this is where I trust the club and I trust my angles. If I swing down the slope, okay, the feeling we did off the bald lie, where I got the ball strike and then I got the divot afterwards, I want to do exactly the same, because I'm after contact. Think about the shot over the water. I'm after contact. If I lean back, I'm going to hit the middle of the ball with the blade of the club. It's going to go shooting across the other side. So have priority here to think, weight on the left side. Now, it's quite a steep slope. So what I actually do with this, normally when I chip, I go narrow, but I'm actually going to go wider to get my stability because it's a steep slope. But I'm doing the same rule as I did over the pond. Middle to back in my stance. My weight is on the lower foot. The ball is middle to higher foot. So I'm keeping the consistency. But the most important thing now is to swing down the slope. Let whatever loft I've chosen, on this occasion my 60 degree, let it do what it's going to do. Keep that weight there. Pop it through. Not the perfect strike, but I'm on the green. That's good. So let's do another one, okay? So I got a tiny little bit of turf there before the ball. I'm not going to lie, that ball's crept onto the green about 6 feet. I needed to be 20 feet up the green. But I had the right idea. So, weight on that side. Much better strike that time. And now we're up by the flag. So we got the result we wanted. But you can see, even as I'm standing here now, finishing the video, all my weight is on this foot. Go with the slope, downhill lie, get the weight on the low foot, ball middle to higher foot, and you're going to have a lot more fun. Start to see the loft happen on these chip shots around the green, and you're going to start to get that ball closer to the hole. So here's our final shot of the video. And again, it's that downhill lie. And we're here on the 6th hole at Corinthians, and it's a hole where, I mean, I've taken it from this angle because I want to show you that the sort of the lack of severity of this slope. Okay, and players who've played this hole, we go down and we've got to go over a pond. We're actually playing a temporary green at the moment, but normally go over the pond. And the biggest thing I see here, again, like we had on the 3rd, which was pretty obvious, we were on quite a severe slope, is that people look at it and they try to help the ball up. Now, we've taken a picture, I put a little device down here and it's showing us it's a 2.3 degree slope. That's all it is. But amateur golfers would never see that. They would never look down and see that slope. They think this was flat. And therein lies our problem. Because as soon as they see it as flat, what are they going to do? They're likely to, if anything, try and help the ball up a little bit. They're not driving through the ball. And I've done other videos on my channel. And hopefully through this video, go and watch one of them. It's about better ball striking. We'll put a little link to it. And if you want to become really good at golf, learn to play the downhill lie. Seriously, you learn to do that. The biggest thing you'll see, you go on any of Paul Drake Harrington's videos, and a lot of you guys I'm sure watch his stuff, and he finishes, everything's about finishing on the front foot. And if you think about what you're doing on a downhill lie to get the result you want, you've got to finish, and you are feeling that you are on that front foot all the time. You're going with the slope. Now this slope was only 2.3 degrees, okay? Tiny. But I've seen really good players play this hole and put it in the water because they don't realise. And if you come in flat, you are now going to thin the ball. You're not going to get that connection that you want. So you're going to lose the elevation of the shot, the sweetness of the strike, and you might lose 10 yards through the air. Well, that's the difference between making the green or going in the water. So as I said, people don't see this lie. And it's what the professionals do. It's the first thing I look for. What's the lie like? Well, it's decent entry into the back of the ball. We mentioned that earlier. But I'm on that downslope. So I've got to feel everything working more this way onto my left side. As I said, I see golfers here and then they think, oh, I've got to get it up and over that water, and they lean back and then, I mean, it's gone forwards, but the contact was just poor. So I've lost 20 yards, okay? The contact lost. So that's the key thing. We're after that contact. Go and watch that video. Better ball striking gives you that feeling. It's me on the practice ground working off downhill lies. So how do we do it right? Well, same thing. Sense where your weight's going. If you just stand here and just relax, you'll feel your weight going onto that lower foot. Go with it. As I said, clean entry into the back of the ball, feel my weight go that way, finish on that left side, which I do with every shot anyway as I go through, hitting a full swing. But now the difference in the connection, totally different. Have I got the right club? Yep, I'm up level with the flag. The other ball's 20 yards short. And you can see the first shot I made no contact with the ground. Second one, to get the distance that I wanted, you can see the divot happening after the ball. Let's do that again. Just get that image in your mind. But remember to look at the lie of the land. I said, I'm standing here now, I can feel my weight going this way. And all I see golfers do is lean back. You lean back, you're not going to be a good golfer. Get your weight through, you're going to have a great time with this game. Okay, so let's do one more, finish this video, and then do a little recap what we've gone through today. See how now I'm finishing nicely on that left side. That's right at the flag. Have we got the right club? Yep, we're on the green. Good shot. Okay. So if we look at those lies, so we go back through them. First tee, look at your shape, play with your shape, pick the right side of the tee. Ball below your feet. Situation there, look at it and realise it's going to make your swing steeper. It should make the ball go left. We naturally then open the face up a little bit, and that's what caused the fade. If you lose the idea of which way the ball's going to move, imagine throwing a ball onto the slope. Watch which way it goes, okay? Same if you're going ball above your feet. Watch how the slope goes. But then a lot of our shots today were about this, getting that feeling of getting on that front foot, getting on that left side. The severe downhill lie over the water. Get that feeling. Even though we had two lies, we always go with the downhill lie as the #1 priority, because that's going to give you better contact. All we did with the ball above the feet was slightly grip down on the club to give us the contact on the ball. Thick rough, don't be greedy. Unless it's sitting up, if it's right down in that grass, get a wedge in there, get it back into play, get it up and out of the grass. That's the important thing. Get it out of the grass. You hit it low, it's just going to get caught up. You saw I hit it about 3 or 4 paces with a 5-iron. It went a good 100 yards with a wedge. Bald lie. It's the lie you want, because you've got clean contact into the back of the ball. So again, like we're doing here, finish with that weight on the left side. And then our last 2 shots, the chipping around the green, quite severe. Don't elevate it up. That's the key thing again. Get your angles going with the slope. Make sure you're going down. On that slope where it's 15 degrees difference, I went from a wedge to my lob wedge, and it became the wedge again. So you're always working around it. As I said, Sevi was an artist at that. He knew what he was going to get. He could understand how the slope's going to affect the flight of the ball and then the roll. And then when there's a tiny bit of slope, just use your feet. Just sense where you are. Where's my weight going? I can feel it going this way. Don't be in a hurry. Or if you're walking to your ball and you can feel you're walking down the slope, realise it's a downhill lie. It might only be fractional, but that's the difference between, as I said, a poor contact, and I've ended up 20 yards short of the flag, to a really good contact, and we've got a chance there to make a score on this hole. I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you have, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. There's that little bell for notifications. To help the channel develop and move on, I run a membership as well. And the idea of the membership is that you get the videos a little bit earlier. You just pay a very small subscription of $2.99 a month, but you get the videos earlier and there's a few extra videos for you. So if you'd like to support the channel, please sign up for that.